Alright, okay, so it's been a year, surprisingly, would you believe, since we had our last video out. The last video we did was in October last year, up in Scotland. Amazing, amazing course. Great bunch of guys were on the course, and we couldn't have asked better. You know, 5 o'clock in the morning, walking out of a forest, watching stags run around the head of a glen, bellowing because it was rutting season. Absolutely amazing. And by way of an explanation as to why I've not had a video out in a year, and I'm not going to harp on about it too much, but just after Christmas last year, sort of January time this year, I got diagnosed with a heart condition. I'm okay, you know, I'm still alive, you know, still above ground, which is great, and type 2 diabetes. For anybody that's just starting out with those kinds of illnesses, you know, it is scary, but, you know, bear with it. You know, modern medicine's a great thing, and, you know, I'm here as a testament to prove that. So I'm not going to harp on too much about that. What else has happened? We've been in the paper quite a lot, all for good reasons, which is good. And we've been on the radio, which is, again, another great thing. And actually, talking about the radio, we've actually been offered our own radio slot on Sundays. And it'll be basically just talking about the great outdoors, anything to do with the outdoors, food foraging, geocaching, farming, you name it, anything to do with outdoors, we're going to be talking about. And that's going to be on, it's a new radio station for the Ribble Valley in Lancashire. It's called Ribble FM. So we're going to be on that on Sunday evenings. I'll let you know via Facebook or something as to when it's actually going to start. We've also been asked to spearhead a new program for young people here in Lancashire by the police, and it's for kind of early and young sort of pre-offenders, if you like, for want of a better word, kids that essentially are bored. You know, they're cutting around the streets of Burnley, Blackburn, Nelson, and so on, that just haven't really got much to do. And it's either that or it's playing on the Xbox or, you know, drinking underage. So we've been asked to spearhead a program where we're going to use bushcraft almost as a catalyst to help bring those people out of the kind of inner cities and into the woods and learn respect for the woods that maybe we've lost over the last few years. And so hopefully, you know, kids will do what we did when we were young. Sandwiches, backpack, flask, and just go off to the woods. And because hopefully we've instilled the love of the woods and the kind of skills needed to, you know, to walk around the woods safely, to operate in the woods safely, and the respect, you know, that you're not going to go chopping trees down and setting fire to things randomly and, you know, leaving loads of rubbish around. So that's starting up in probably going to be January, February when they release the public funding money for that. We've got a new full-time headquarters. We've got a brand new permission. We've got great facilities. There's water, there's crayfish on tap if you like your crayfish, and some of you that have seen our Facebook post, there's been quite a lot of work on crayfish on there that we've been doing lately. So, but anyway, enough waffle from me. We're going to video setting up camp, and the next few videos we're probably going to do are going to be more back to basics videos. So rather than kind of coming on and being very kit heavy, it's going to be, you know, these are the knots we use, and there's only 3 of them, realistically. 3 or 4 knots I only ever use in bushcraft, and have done in the last 30 odd years. This is the setups we use, this is the tarp we use, that kind of thing. So rather than being very kind of kit heavy, this is going right back to basics. How we start fires, how we tie knots, how we forage for food, how we get natural cordage. So we're going to take it back a little bit as well, you know, back to where bushcraft first started. Okay, so hope you enjoy it. We're going to start putting the camp together now, so bear with us while we get set up again. I'll try not to waffle on too much, as I always do. And that's it. Let's get camp set up. See you in a minute. Right, so the very first knot we're going to do is to set up the ridgeline, and that's going to be the event hitch. Lots and lots of people have done videos on this, but again, like I said, I want to kind of take it back a bit and show you how I set up camp. There's no right way, there's no wrong way, but this is how I do it. So the event hitch. Quite simply, you have your long end, that's going to form your ridge, and I always keep that in my left hand, and have the short end in my right hand, and I hold the long end just with my thumb in my hand. I take the short end, wrap it round my fingers and over, and then I let my hand go down and over, grab the short end with my fingers and just pull it through. Let the whole thing cinch up tight on itself, and then push it up tight to the tree. Simple as that. Right, so in terms of the other end of my ridge line, there's a few different ones you can do. There's a taut line hitch, but in this instance I'm going to use a trucker's hitch. So this is my variation on a trucker's hitch. I get my main line here, and I turn my hand round so it's facing the wrong way, so my fingers are pointing back to me. And I grab and twist. And you come up with this loop, like that. Okay, so my hand towards me, grab and twist, and I have a loop. I reach through the loop, and I grab that end of that line, and pull it through. So I have a loop like this. And I poke my other end that's gone round the tree, through that hole, pull it back on itself, and that way you end up with a really tight line. Throw it over, pull it through, pull it across. Simple as that. If you want to, pull that through, so you've got a nice tight end. But that is as tight as a ridgeline needs to be. Okay. The only other knot that I use is a prusik knot. I'll show you how to do one of those very simply. A prusik knot's always work better if the string or the cordage that you make your prusik knot out of is thinner than the ridgeline you're attaching it to. So this is how I make a prusik knot. So you've got a short length here, it's maybe a foot long, something like that. And it's a reef knot or a square knot, whatever you want to call it. So left hand goes over and under. Right hand goes over and under. And pull it tight. Simple as that. That's all it needs to be. Just a loop, like that. Okay? And then we'll go over to the ridgeline and attach it onto that. Okay. And here's how I attach the prusik knot onto my main ridgeline. I've got my loop that we made earlier. I'll bring it up behind my main ridgeline. I pass it over and through the loop once, twice, 3 times, and a third time I grab it, pull it down, slide these together. It's as simple as that. It doesn't move one way, doesn't move another. However, you can slide it quite easily and it won't move. So all we need to do is reach over and grab this. This is the line from my canvas tarp. Clip that onto there, and then now I can do the same on the other end and tighten up my tarp. Alright, so that's it. That's all it is. Very simple setup. 3 knots. Again, it's all it is, 3 knots. Event hitch at one end of my ridgeline, a trucker's hitch or a taut line hitch, whichever one you use at the other side. The roof I've pegged out onto 2 other trees and using exactly the same thing, just a taut line hitch onto 2 trees or a trucker's hitch onto 2 trees. Keeps it nice and taut. I've tucked the tail end of the tarp underneath, so that kind of creates a base layer for me. And on top of that I've got this. This is the Swedish Army Rescue Bag, I think they call it. It's not a lightweight piece of kit by any means, but at our new teaching ground we're not a million miles away from the car park, so it wasn't a horrendous thing to carry it up. And inside there I've got my sleeping bag and an airbed. Airbeds are very important. If you've got a cold ground, it's pure physics. All that's going to happen is if you've got a warm body and a cold ground, the ground will try and equalise temperature and it will physically suck the heat out of your body, which nobody wants because you end up with a very uncomfortable night. So inside there I've got a pretty good air mattress, my sleeping bag, and obviously this is an outer. So that's it. Very simple setup. Didn't take too long at all. Probably takes long because you have to stop and do all the filming, but that's perfectly fine. So the next step is gather some firewood and get a fire going for some tea. Okay, catch up in a minute. This is simply some sisal rope which is being torn into a bundle. Good thing with sisal rope is it's incredibly cheap. You can get huge great swathes of it for only a couple of quid, and it lights incredibly easy. This is one of the things that when we're teaching kids, this is one of the things that we teach the kids to do, because it enables them to just completely slow down, and they're not running around like little maniacs. They're sitting down, and you can have a bit of a chat about bushcraft and knowledge that's been passed down over the years, just whilst you're pulling this apart, and they can ask questions, because it's amazing how much children really do want to learn. And I found that when I've been sort of teaching the kids recently, how much the kids just, their brains are like sponges, you know, and they really want to get into it. And of course with the kids you have a laugh, and you kind of, once this is all made into a bird's nest, you can put it on your head, pretend it's a wig. You know, there's no point in being all kind of straight-laced about things. If you're going to have a laugh with kids, you know, kids enjoy mucking about. That's what they do, the children. So if you can make them have a bit of a laugh, a bit of entertainment, it's amazing how much better and quicker the kids will learn. I think sometimes we're in such a hurry to get fires lit when we're on camps. You know, we have to get the brew on, have to get the bacon on, have to get a fire lit. You know, it's that kind of trifactor, isn't it? The magic trifactor of bushcraft. You know, get your camp done, get your fire lit, get your tea on. And I think sometimes we look at the end instead of maybe the journey. But hey, could just be me waffling again. I have to say, the reason I'm doing this actually is I've just tried lighting the fire with some fat wood, and for some unknown reason it just wouldn't light. And I dare say I'm probably going to get a slew of people leaving comments on the video saying, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that, this is the answer. But the reality is, I've lit hundreds, if not thousands, of campfires with fat wood. In fact, the last time I was up at this new location of ours for teaching, in readiness for the kids coming up to have a day on firelighting, and I actually lit the fire in exactly the same way. Fat wood, scraped it all down, threw a ferrocerium rod on it, bang, fire first time. But life isn't like the TV programs, and isn't like the YouTube videos that there are so many of, and I don't like using the word experts, because there seems to be an awful lot of self-professed ones on the internet that will show you this is how it's done and it works first time every time. And look at me, I'm an expert and I'm great and I've got great presence on the camera and I'm a minor celebrity, but it just doesn't work. That's the reality of it. It just doesn't work full time. First time, sorry, every time. So now we have a different solution, which is a bird's nest made out of sisal rope. So we're going to try using this instead. But with this, we're going to use a flint and steel and blow it into flame. So, flint, steel, char cloth. Haven't got a great amount of this left because the kids used it up the other weekend. But here we go. Find a sharp edge. Just don't forget, with flint and steel, it's not bits of flint that go flying off to create the sparks. It's the steel itself. So let's give this a go. Just getting plenty of sparks with the wind. Oh, there we go. The wind isn't being our friend today. There we go. Right, so I'm just going to move the camera up a bit, so I'm afraid you might have a shock of seeing my face. That's not the bird's nest, that's my beard. Here we go. There we go. Morning folks, well it's day 2, Sunday morning. We didn't do much filming last night after we got the fire going, because by the time we got the cameras and everything else set up and the fire going, it was kind of about 5:30, 6 o'clock. And obviously this time of year the sun goes down pretty quick. So anyway, so it's now Sunday morning. I had a great night's sleep last night. I can't stress the importance of that airbed, you know, the air mattress that's in there. It makes a difference between a warm night and a cold night's sleep. So if you can get one and you are thinking about ground dwelling, without doubt use one. So we've got the sun coming up, so that way's east. And we've got the fire going now. So next job is the Sunday morning ritual, of course, getting the bacon on the go. See you soon. time ago, I think. So I've arranged the fire here so it's like a long fire. So essentially the main body of the fuel is going to be up this end here. And that's obviously what's heating the billy can up for a brew for this morning. And then as things burn down, we'll bring the embers and the ashes this way. So we can then put our trivet on. Cook in the embers, obviously, rather than in flame. There we go, let that warm up, get some bacon going. Right. And now, the best sound in the world, bar none, the sound of freshly sizzling bacon on a cold autumn morning.